which is Antonia Crane, who is an author and an activist and a sex worker and a PhD candidate at USC. She's the founder of Strippers United. So welcome, Antonia. Tell us what's going on.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. This is incredibly powerful. Thank you, panelists and Maxime, for your stories. It's incredibly important and powerful. Thank you for showing up and teaching us so much. I'm going to tell you my story. Being a handjob whore was a good job in that I never had a mean or abusive client, and I didn't have to turn over half my earnings to a madam, an employer, or a DJ, unlike the strip clubs where I lap danced for decades. My main problem with freelance handjobbing was the flakiness factor, which is why I scheduled clients back to back whenever I was working. And on Thursday, October 14th, 2010, I was working. My plan was to spend a 45-minute hour with a new client, Steve, at the Rotex Hotel in Koreatown, and afterwards meet my friend Maya at her studio apartment downtown, where we did double rub and tug sessions for her regulars. The chances of a new client showing up was 50-50. So I was surprised when Steve was sitting in the lobby of the Rotex Hotel, fondling a beer bottle and nibbling nuts at a table, waiting for me. I remember seeing a woman reading a magazine at the front desk, watching us while we talked, and I remember not giving a shit. But Steve seemed antsy. He joked distastefully about BDSM. "Nothing up my butt, okay?" he asked. I was new at handjobbing solo and was nervous, but needed my rent and cat food. I hurried Steve along. The hotel rooms were across a parking lot. I led Steve towards the exit and walked outside into the balmy mid-October night when Los Angeles is not yet ready to give up summer. "Hey," he said, "these guys want to talk to you." I looked over to see two cops flash their badges in my face. One cuffed me and shoved me into a white van. They drove me somewhere and locked me into a cell that was like a dog kennel, with one small square window with a view of a wall clock. I was there for several hours while they did more sweeps. Then they cuffed me again and transferred me to 77th Street Jail, where I was booked and dumped into a bigger cell with over a dozen women. Schwarzenegger was still in office in October 14th, 2010, and the governor was trying to keep his anti-immigrant, pro-incarceration Republican grip on California. Remember? All of the other jailed sex workers, all of them were women of color, particularly young Black women. We talked. They said if I'd not been arrested before, I may not be held all weekend. They were right. The following night, I was released. I found out about the diversion program, which is kind of like an expensive traffic school with a workbook and an online class. I had to go to a cramped office on Spring Street and wait in a hallway for someone from American Justice Associates to show up to give me a physical receipt for the $350 change, for the $350 charge for the Think About It workbook. In the workbook, most of the multiple choice questions were all about managing one's anger. Try hitting a pillow when you are angry was one of the suggestions they suggested. Other questions were about domestic violence. Inherent in every question was the underlying belief that I had made a bad choice, that I was being sex trafficked, that I was being beaten, and that I was a very pissed off third grader. After my arrest, I took down my massage ads and my mental health suffered. I refused to see new clients. I had panic attacks. I was afraid I was being followed, of being cuffed and shoved into an unmarked van when walking down the street. And I'm going to share something with you right now, quickly, which is Dun, dun, dun. Hello, here we go. Okay, here's the ticket. Let me move it towards the middle. So I'm showing you this ticket because the officer, there are so many typos on this ticket. I do not have brown hair or brown eyes. It was not 10/15/2010. It was not Friday. I am like, sir, you are fired. Maybe you should try gardening or take up baking. And I'm going to show you this. This was the American Associates. They still have this program. You can look it up. Think about it. You are in control. And here's who they are. And they charged $350 back in 2010. It's probably more now. Stop share. Thank you for looking at that. Okay. The Think About It diversion program still exists as an alternative to incarceration. It drops the M for misdemeanor from your record, but it does not address institutional racism, whorephobia, and the societal stigma of sex work used to justify the criminalization of a robust, consensual workforce. On March 17th, 2011, I completed the diversion program. But I think about the thousands of other incarcerated sex workers who don't have that luxury. And I think about my attorney's fees, the program fees, and lost income. Thousands and thousands of dollars that could be diverted to sex workers to provide healthcare, housing, and resources they actually need. I think about that. I hope you will too. Thank you.